Titanic Talk with Nelson Aspen and Alexandra Boyd. Here we feature stories from the independent documentary Ship of Dreams Titanic movie diaries and everything else to do with the iconic ship. From James Cameron's epic groundbreaking movie to the history and legacy of Titanic herself. Join us and our special guests as we continue the 25th anniversary celebrations of Titanic. This is your first-class ticket to everything aboard the Ship of Dreams.
Welcome back to Titanic Talk, another episode for your Titanic pleasure. My name is Nelson Aspen. I'm coming to you from New York City today as usual, but I am also with my lovely co-host Alexandra Boyd, the filmmaker behind Titanic Movie Diaries, Ship of Dreams, the new documentary that is just making Titaniacs all over the world sit up and take notice. And speaking of Titaniacs, it may sound like that's a terrible thing. You shouldn't call someone a Titaniac. We are all Titaniacs. Anybody who loves the Titanic is a Titaniac. And we have two very special Titaniacs who are not just fans, they are gifted artists. Alexandra, introduce us to these people that you discovered through the miracle of social media.
Well, yes, Instagram is an amazing thing. And Dale McCarthy, you see him there with his beautiful miniatures. He and I first connected on Instagram because he's by trade a wedding dress designer, a couture designer. And as you do, you gather these people around you on social media. And here comes Ilka-Sophie, who makes herself life-size versions of Kate Winslet's costume. Welcome, the two of you. Thank you so much.
The mini and the maxi.
Hello.
Yes, the macro and the micro. It's amazing. Tell us, Dale McCarthy and Ilka-Sophie Reinecke de Castro, I did get that right. Tell us, who wants to start and tell us exactly how you two met?
Ilka, how did we do this?
So I was just in the progress of starting to make my jump dress, and I had actually designed a little pattern for the beaded bodice. And just when I was into that, I think Dale found me on Instagram, and I had probably only made 1 or 2 posts about the dress yet. But
the jump dress. I'm just for clarity. You're saying the jump dress. In other words, Rose's dress that she was wearing when she was attempting to jump.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and he found me on Instagram, and it was just fate, I think, because I really needed him, and he just appeared out of nowhere. And
it really is the magic of social media, because I think I had made this miniature version, and I've still got all of my original patterns and all of my working drawings, and I saw Ilka's work and I said, there's just a few little things, if you're open to it, maybe we can work together, and I can sort of give you a few pointers, because it's miniature scale is pretty much the same as human scale, it's just a bit smaller. And Ilka said, yes, let's give it a go. And
where were you each living at the time that you connected?
I was in Durban, South Africa at the time.
And I was in Germany. I didn't even know why Dale wanted to help me, because I was actually convinced that I could not sew the actual dress. I wanted to bead the bodice and then maybe have someone else do the rest of the dress for me, because I had never done anything, like maybe a pillowcase or something, but nothing. And Dale said, no, I think you can do this. I'm going to show you how to do it. You're still going to have to do it yourself, but I'm going to be there and I'm going to help you. And I thought it was crazy, but there it is.
Then how many other dresses have you since gone on to create, Ilka?
Well, I have made the jump dress, the dinner dress, the tea gown, the flying dress.
Behind you is the tea gown?
Yeah, that's the tea gown, lots of lace there. I have made the breakfast gown, and I'm currently making the heaven gown, which is identical to the dinner dress, but like a wedding dress in design. So yeah.
Dale, have you made versions of all those dresses she just listed?
I still need to make the breakfast dress, which is the I'm your fiancé dress, that one. And the heaven dress, I need to do that one. And also I need to, it's a really old attempt at the dinner dress. And when Ilka was making her version, I'd figured out a few sort of pattern construction details, which we worked on. So I've realized that this version that I've made is really out of date and I need to make a new one. So we'll be making another one. But yeah,
Because
so
we love patterns. We really
I
love
think I can
patterns.
see why you resist remaking that, because of all those teeny tiny sequins
oh my gosh,
you have to
so
re-sew.
2 millimeters.
Do you have Kate Winslet's Oscar dress there as well?
Yes,
He
hang on.
doesn't just stick within Titanic. It sort of bleeds out into anything
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Alexander McCarthy.
I saw that on your Instagram page. Magnificent.
Dragonflies.
So beautiful.
Oh, and the little bolero.
Did the toy company ever make a Titanic Rose Barbie doll? That seems like a natural.
They did. There've been a few Rose dolls. I think one official one from Mattel. There was one from the Franklin Mint. There was another one by a company called Galoob. There've been a few. Just waiting for them to see that I'm out there. I can.
They should make a
You
one
can
that's a
definitely
raft
do
that you
better
can
than
throw in the
them.
pool.
Yes, but you would.
God,
You'd never sleep, Dale. You'd never
that's
sleep.
okay. That's fine. I'll sleep when I'm dead. It's fine.
That's what
You know,
we do.
I don't want to spoil anything for folks that have yet to see Alexandra's documentary, Ship of Dreams, because in that film, we get to experience the two of you meeting up with Alexandra together and having that amazing moment where you're in person together after this online friendship. So I don't want to spoil that, but in continuing the story of how Titanic friendships literally change lives, Dale, tell us how the Titanic experience actually moved you out of South Africa. That's not where you are right now.
No, well, I'm currently living in lovely, chilly England. Right, so how did this begin? So it's really Alexandra and Titanic and okay, so I saw Titanic in December 1997. I remember everything about that experience, everything. And something about that film, it did something to me, as it did to everyone, you know. And for years, I just sort of been so fascinated by it. And with social media, you know, doing my drawings, doing my miniature outfits, just putting a lot of energy into the film. I think with hashtags and just finding people, finding each other. I found Alex, or Alex found me, so we got together. And then Alex, I think we met at BAFTA in London a few years back.
You were in the UK visiting your
Yes.
mum, and I
Yes.
said, "Look, come up to London because I wanted to see the miniatures in person. I wanted to just look at them up close." And
That was
and you did. You showed up. They were all rolled in a silk headscarf,
I know.
and we put them out.
You were so mad at
table.
me. You were so mad.
That horrible bag.
Why are they
Yeah.
not in like hermetically sealed boxes? Also, I had made sure that you and Laura Daly of Bellissima Weddings started following each other because you were designing and creating wedding dresses in South Africa. So there was that connection too. And she was very happy to follow you.
I had a company called McCarthy Wolf with my friend Jane Wolf, and doing bridal gowns and couture sort of evening wear. And so meeting you in BAFTA was honestly such a highlight. And I walked down those stairs. You gave me such a big hug. It was just, it was perfect. You could see my work. You know, you could see having a lovely tea together, and just forging connections that this film has really does bring people together. So then a few years later, this would have been 2021. There were a few sort of things happening politically in South Africa that were really quite frightening. If you're from where I live, it's, you know, in Durban, there were these massive riots, and it was really getting to be quite even talking about it now works me up a little bit, but it was quite frightening, and I was panicking. And I remember I sent an email to Alex saying, you know, I know Laura has this wonderful business. This is what I do. It's a shot in the dark, but would you possibly pass my message on to Laura? Perhaps there's something, perhaps she could bring me on board, because I was really thinking, I'm quite frightened in this country, and I need to, and my mom and my stepdad and my sister family live in England. So it made sense, you know, for me to come over. And it is an absolute miracle, but here I am. I'm in England. I'm working at this magnificent bridal company called Bellissima Weddings, and it's literally life-changing. When people talk about things that are life-changing, well, this is it. This is it, and it's traced back to Titanic. That's the common thread. So
I was saying to Nelson earlier, we would not know each other if there hadn't been a film made about Titanic, if I hadn't had a tiny part in it, if we hadn't met on Instagram. And in fact, I remember you called me actually, or we spoke on the phone, and you said, and you were very humble, you said, do you think Laura would consider giving me a job? I was like, I'm hanging up right now. I'm calling her right now. Because Laura and I have known each other since we were 18. We were literally roommates. We shared a room, a bedroom, when we were dancing students at Lake Theatre Arts. So we've known each other for 40 years. And over the years that I've seen Laura build this wedding dress business, which is like, she wins all the awards, Essex Businesswoman of the Year, Best Bridal Shop, Best Customer Service, all of this stuff.
Yes, we won one. It was incredible.
Yes, it seems like this natural connection. And so I hung up from you. I called her literally straight away. I said, I've got that person that you've been talking about adding to your team for 10 years now. And she went, and I went, Dale. She went, Dale? Yes. She hung up the phone and literally started filling out the forms and all the immigration and God knows what it needed to get you there.
And that was that immigration thing, because I'm here on a skilled worker visa. And I remember when we filmed my segments for the Ship of Dreams documentary, oh my goodness, I was so stressed out because all of this behind the scenes stuff was happening. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, keep it together, it's fine.
Because it was still hanging in the balance. You didn't know if it was going to come through.
Yes, it was. There was an incredible amount of red tape for everything to happen, because there's a sponsorship license and a visa and all sorts of things that but never mind, here I am. It worked out.
Well, I would like to think after everything that people say, especially our politicians, about the evils of social media and how it's used to manipulate people and for all these nefarious purposes. I think this kind of family that we're all building through Titanic is exactly what social media was set out to be. So I'd like to believe that anyway. And it certainly has resulted in a friendship between Dale and Ilka, and the fact that you not only communicate about design projects together, but you Dale sort of helped mentor Ilka in making her feel as if she could achieve the things she wasn't sure she could achieve. And now we get to see all of these magnificent achievements. Tell us what's behind you there, Ilka, and so we can have a sense of your creations.
Well, behind me is the jump dress, which was the very first dress that I ever made in my life. And Alexandra had already said to me, like, why did you start with that one? Like, start with a skirt or a blouse or something. But for me, the jump dress was always the dress. Like, I was 14 years old when I watched Titanic in cinema back then. And I vividly remember seeing Kate Winslet in that dress. And like, I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. She looked perfect in that movie. And I think it was also for me as a young woman back then, or girl, but also the character had such an important message, like that you can be a strong, independent woman, that you can survive like the sinking, but you can also survive being different in society and following your dreams and just make your dreams come true. I think that was a very beautiful message that the movie had. And it kind of stayed with me. I remember it was the first movie, like I went home and I thought about it, and I thought about it the next day. And then I wanted to know more about the history of Titanic. And back then I would go into the library and I would read everything I could about it. And I don't know, you would watch the music video all the time because there were little bits of the movie that you could see something of it again. And it was just crazy. And I just wanted to spend more time with the characters and just be in there. So I always knew I wanted to have that dress. But how do you get that dress? Like, there's nobody making the dress in this kind of detail. And at the time, online there were not so many great pictures of it, but in 2018, I think it was, when Biltmore exhibit opened, people had this kind of cameras and there were images coming out and you could basically count the beads on the dress. And I thought, okay, if you don't try it now, you never will, because if you don't do it yourself, you'll never have that dress.
Wait,
and I
you
thought,
didn't actually see the Biltmore exhibition. You
No.
saw images people took on their phones,
Yeah.
not realizing they were taking research photographs for Ilka-Sophie. Just
Yeah,
posting them, and they were zooming in and counting the beads.
I was researching this dress for years. Like, it wasn't that I was obsessed about it all the time, but like after a year I would go back to Google and see, is there anything new? Is there something I haven't found yet, or something I haven't seen yet? And sometimes there are, for example, exhibits where the dress wasn't put on properly. And if you're lucky, it actually shows you something that you couldn't see if it were properly on the mannequin. So these are also like chances for us. And we're trying to use them so we learn about the construction of the dress. And it always makes sense. And when you do it right, the way that your dress will behave will be the same that it behaves like in the movie. Like there are, for example, 2 stud buttons in the bodice, so it would not fall from you when you wear it. And there's a picture of an exhibit where this actually happened, that the dress fell down and you see the stud buttons. And we were like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And like these little things, the sound that the dress makes.
You're a couturier detective as well, because what would you do if you actually saw the dress in person? If somebody let you get close to it, I mean, I bet you wouldn't want to touch it. You'd have to have white gloves on.
That's really that would be just crazy. Like, I would probably hack off my right arm to see the dress. But
well, that would defeat the point of the dress. We can't have you doing that. How satisfied are each of you with yourselves? Like, do you always say, because Dale, you said earlier about, I need to redo this one or that one.
Yeah.
Ilka, do you feel like you've gotten it right? Are you satisfied with that? Are you ready to do the next one? Or is there some one little sequin or feature that you wish you'd done differently?
I think I had a very steep learning curve with the jump dress, because while Dale was teaching me, he kind of taught me how to hem a skirt, how to do any kind of seam, basically, because I didn't know these things. So after completing the jump dress, I think I already had all the techniques to make all the other dresses, in terms of what kind of techniques you need to finish a dress that way, an Edwardian dress, let's say like that. And I don't know, the jump dress for me perfectly fine. Like, I think I did as good as I possibly could. And Dale and we never made compromises. Like, of course, for example, I could have bought a button that is similar and say, this is good enough. But no, I actually bought raw buttons. I covered them in fabric. And then I took 1 hour per button to put the little beads on it and the little rhinestones, so it would be exact. And if you do this with every single detail, later the whole thing will look really great. So every time you make a compromise, I think the dress is getting worse. So you always need to decide, do I want it easy or do I want to do it the right way? So
we've seen you modeling some of your work. Was that originally an intent? You spoke about how Rose affected you as yourself as a young girl and inspired you. Is that part of it too? Does wearing the clothes? I mean, some people just want to play dress up, or they just want to be the character. What does the effect of wearing the clothes have on you?
I think in the beginning it was about wearing that dress specifically, but while I was working on it, it was kind of changing, because for me it became this work of art that I just wanted to finish. It wasn't so much about wearing it anymore. Of course, it's awesome to wear it, because you kind of get the feeling how it would probably be to wear the real dress.
I have a question. How is it heavy when you wear it? What does it feel?
Yeah, it's like, it's not exactly comfortable, because like the bodice and the whole dress weighs some 4 kilos more or less, I think. And when you wear that for a few minutes, you start noticing that the weight is kind of pulling on you. So, but like, you wear the corset under it, you're completely dressed out with all of these things that were necessary back then, and then you really feel like a lady, you know, when you wear that, you kind of get this attitude, and it's really a great feeling. And
I tried to get her to wear it to the Royal Albert Hall in the documentary.
We all tried.
Like, no. I was like,
No.
just show up, you know, like a cosplay. And she's like, you are kidding me. No. And now I realize you would have just been, you wouldn't have wanted to move. You'd have been teetering along in the dress.
Now,
Like,
there is only
It's very
so much
fragile.
Titaniac in that Titaniac.
Yeah, the thing is, of course, it would be great to wear it, but the dress honestly is very fragile. And I have spoken to the lady that made the original dress, Paulie Drissy, and she told me that she constantly had to repair the dress during filming. And when I wear the dress and you move around a bit for a while, then you hear some bead falling on the floor, and it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? And then when you're done wearing it for a photo shoot or something, then I'm there like looking, oh God, where is it missing? I need to fix it, because it's really not made for wearing. I mean, of course it's clothing, but it's very fragile. And I put 211 days into this dress, and I'm gonna do hell taking it out of the house, you know? It's very difficult.
And Ilka, you're married. What does your husband think of all of this? Where in your relationship, in your marriage, did you begin the Titanic journey? And what does he think of it?
Fernando was always extremely supportive, and he was always like, no, I always knew that you could do it. Like he never had any kind of doubt that I would be determined enough to achieve this. And yeah, he like dinner was late because I was there doing my beadwork, and do we want to watch the movie? Yes, but I kind of want to go back to beadwork, you know. It's always these decisions like, if you don't work on
Titanic
the dress,
or beadwork, Titanic or Titanic beadwork.
Yeah, so it's like that. Like many people want to have a dress like that, but I think they don't realize how much you suffer and sacrifice to actually make that kind of dress. And but he was always extremely supportive, and yeah, I think that's how it is in a good relationship. I support his hobbies and he supports mine, and we've been traveling together to London for my Titanic crazy stuff, and he never minds coming and being crazy with me, so that's
he
actually
even
great.
did some filming for us.
Yeah.
He's got skills. And don't you call him Trudy Bolt, because he has to actually put you into the...
Yeah, this, I think actually Dale started that, or Dale and I started that, because he always had to close my corset, and then he became my Trudy. So.
Well, Dale's day job is fashion themed. Ilka, do you have a day job, or that
I do have a day job,
wardrobe related?
I am a physical therapist, and I work in a private clinic. And it's completely different from doing dress work and everything. So I think it's kind of my outlet and where my creativity can go. But I love my job very much too. And I'm really happy with my workplace.
Fascinating.
That's so great. Ilka's got such a wonderful balance. Whereas I'm sewing all day at work, then I come home and I carry on sewing. It's just, I just can't stop.
It is this wonderful passion / obsession that has been born from a movie about 1,500 people who perished in the North Atlantic 111 years ago. And well, I just think it's a constant conundrum to me. And of course we tried to explore it in the film, in my documentary. I'm trying to put my finger on why those of you who saw this at a young age, like I was in my 30s when I did the film, but I know that when it came out, it was people who were in their early teen years usually, who were struck by this film, and 25 years later continued to make it a huge part of their lives. And I still haven't quite answered it, and I don't think I'm going to. I don't think it matters. I think it's just, if two artists at your level can be created out of one piece of cinema, which is not just a piece of cinema, because of course it's connected to the history of the ship and all of that, and in your particular cases it's the costumes and the way people dressed, which, you know, bleeds into corsetry and how you have to sit and behave. We talk about that, don't we, Dale, in our interview, because I had many hours in that corset. It was hard work. I just think it's amazing, and it just makes me so happy that we can continue to talk about it. And of course, anybody who's listening to this and is even slightly interested in seeing more of your pieces, I was going to say costumes, but they're not. They are museum quality reproductions of these outfits, and you shake your head and go, no, that's too much. That's too much. I've seen them up close and as Ilka underscored, you could have gone, I'm just going to make this red dress with a sort of beady bodice and a bit of a train on it, and that's not what your intention was from the beginning.
I've still got the pattern for that. Here's my boarding outfit pattern.
I love your patterns.
That's for the boarding outfit, but for the jump dress, I sat and I figured out the pattern, the beading pattern for the bead, so that if someone knows that dress inside out, I wanted them to notice that I'd really tried to make the beads replicate what they see on screen. And it's something that's, like Ilka said, do it the easy way or do it the right way. It's you, and it's something that I think we as artists, we know, artist integrity. So it really is.
Well, your work is a gift to Titanic fans and just sort of fashion fans in general, and they're able to go onto your social media pages and enjoy the process and your thoughts about it, as well as being able to see the photographs. But where, if any, do you foresee your collections going? Would you be willing to sell them? Do you want to see them in a museum? Do you want them on a touring display? I mean, where, other than being just behind you there, where would you like these to go?
This is so funny that you're saying this. My dream actually is to have a miniature Hollywood costume exhibition at the V&A gallery. That's something I'm dying to do.
You just manifested destiny, and now it will happen. You said it.
That's what I'm dying to do. So I'm thinking of movie costumes. Titanic, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is another one that I'm quite obsessed with. I've just finished this from The Sound of Music. So we've got
the Baroness. It's the Baroness.
Just finished that one, and then
Georg.
Oh, look at him. He's like, this one and then this one. What's that one? Oh, it's Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So it's all worked out.
And no panties, I might add.
Well, never mind. We'll get there. So historical wedding gowns, Oscar fashions, movie costumes, it's all worked out in my head. So at the V&A, at some point, I would love to, because I don't want them to just be hidden away inside. It's, for me, I'd love for people to see them and touch them and pick them up and look at them and really get up close, because I don't just make them, I make them for myself. There's something inside that I feel like I have to do it. But people out there are really, really kind and really, really supportive and genuinely interested. So I enjoy showing them off, not to be a show off, but to just sort of let people touch them and have a look. Like Ilka, when I showed these to Ilka, she was so frightened. I said, no, please.
Yeah, he came in with that bag too. He had them wrapped in this bag, and I was like, oh my God, Dale, what are you doing? These are so precious. No, just touch them. I want you to touch them.
That's it. Like, to me, it's just, I've done it. I've done the work. And if anyone out there wants to have a look, by all means, please.
You had the pink, you had the sinking coat as well when you met me, but you did sell that.
Oh, yes, I did. There was a very persistent person online who got it. So I'll have to remake that one. Yes.
And also a life-size version of the swim dress, which is in a museum somewhere in Wisconsin, I think. That's
in a cinema. The chap owns a cinema, and his dad actually made this glass box, and he's got a mannequin, and this is the dress we're talking about, but a life-size one. And I had the privilege of making this replica of the swim dress, and I enjoyed every single stitch. It was like going through this. It was done in, I think, 2020, 2021, and I was in my element, heaven, because getting to go to work and having to sort of say to my business partner, Jane, I'm just going to be like researching the Titanic costume, like for work. It was so fun. So it was, I love doing that. And because she, bless her, she knows how much I love the film, and she carried on with the wedding dresses and said, Dale, you do this, it's fine, you can do this. And oh no, I love making that dress. So it's at a it's called the Ashland Bay Cinema in Wisconsin. So if anyone wants to go and have a look.
Well, no, wait a minute. Where was Jack from? Was he Wisconsin? Where was Jack from?
He was, I think he was.
I thought so.
There we go.
Oh, we'll have letters if he's not, because I can't answer.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, I knew he was from somewhere where the same as somebody I dated, so that could just be. We've got 50 states; it could be at least 40 of them. Ilka, where do your clothes live when they're not behind you for this podcast? How do you care for them, and where do they spend their time?
Yeah, they spend their time tucked away in boxes, and I have to admit that they don't have those appropriate large boxes yet where you store a dress with like paper and everything, because they're not antiques, and I didn't just get to that yet. But I have like big plastic boxes where I can carefully fold them, and but I have to get them out every few months for airing and just steaming them out and having them on the mannequins for a while. But yeah, I do get them out sometimes to take a picture, or I have a photo shoot sometimes. And then I really try to do the whole outfit with the shoes and everything. Like Dale and I had this, the shoes. Dale's already saying the shoes. I have one here next to me. So Dale and I had this adventure with the shoes, dyeing the shoes, because these were actually ivory colored. I found them secondhand. And
didn't they come out the first time you tried to dye them?
They were so pink.
It was very bad. I was crying for 3 days straight because they had turned pink. And we think it was because someone had probably put some coating over them, some kind of spray coat when they were bought in store, because they usually offer this in store. Can I spray it for you? And this probably prevented the shoe to take the red color. So I was crying for 3 days. And then Dale said, I think you were visiting your mom in England.
I was in England at the time, yeah.
And I was here in Germany, and he said, send them to me. I'm going to take them with me. I'm going to try to do something with them. And he actually managed to get them this beautiful red with some kind of stronger dye that he had in South Africa. And then when they came back to me, I actually did the beadwork like they had just done for the movie. Like there, I went with a Biltmore picture for this one, bead by bead, replicating this pattern on the little leaf pattern here.
I remember seeing that Instagram journey, probably before we connected in person or in Instagram world, just going, this is madness. It's brilliant. It's madness.
When Ship of Dreams, Titanic movie Diaries is nominated for an Oscar for Best Documentary, you have to dress Alexandra for when she goes.
Dale dressed me for the premiere of Widow's Walk in New York. Yes, we forgot to mention that.
That was beautiful. About what you wore, Alex. You can put a photo of that post-production.
Yes, you're looking at it right now. Yes, he made me the most beautiful wraparound navy sequined 40s. I felt like Betty Davis walking down the red carpet. It was.
I was so proud. That was also such a geek moment. So thank you for giving me.
That was so beautiful. I remember that dress too.
I thought you were going to say, Nelson, when we get nominated, that Ilka has to show up in that damn dress. That damn dress.
Yes.
Okay. And I will. For the Oscars, I would.
Around you, making sure, security, making sure nobody, and picking up the beads as they fall. They'll be picking up and putting them into a little silk purse for you to re-sew after the ceremony.
I'll be the one chasing the beads. I'm a bead chaser. That's fine.
Okay, a bead chaser. That's it.
Beautiful.
What was the other thing? A floor monster?
Yeah, the floor monster. Yeah, we're back to that.
Tell us.
That's a young man's game. You can only be a floor monster if it's easy for you to get up off the floor. If you're going to spend your day working on the floor, at a certain point you'll be too stiff and infirm to get off the floor. So enjoy it while you're still young, Dale.
Yes, I had mentioned that I had this image of Dale sitting in the upstairs room at Bellissima Weddings, surrounded by tulle and silk and beads, cross-legged on the floor. Like, where's Dale? Oh, he's somewhere in there under the tulle. And that's when Ilka said, "Oh yes, that's called a floor monster in our world, because it's just much easier to sit down on the floor where all the stuff is."
It really is. I'm sitting right now with my legs crossed, and when you hand stitching, keep your back straight, and you stitch, down here. It feels better for your body. So far more comfortable.
That's the first thing that Dale taught me. He said, "Never bend over your work." And sometimes I do it, and then I'm like, "Oh, I remember." Dale said, "Never bend over your work."
And you're the physical therapist. You should know about these things. Posture is everything. Before we wrap it up for today, let's each take a moment and tell us your Instagram accounts. We'll of course have it down below as well, but tell us where we can find you online. Dale?
Okay, so anyone who wants to follow along, I'm Dale_McCarthy_art, A-R-T.
Okay, and Ilka?
My Instagram used to be private, so it's not Titanic related name, but it is Ilki1983. And you're gonna see all my work in progress there, my costumes and all the accessories that I collect to complete my outfits.
We will list those so everyone can enjoy them. Thank you so much. Congratulations on not just your fine work, but for your fine friendship. We're Alexandra and I just feel so lucky that we have this ever expanding Titanic family. And you're over there. Let me know when you're in New York. I'll let you know when I'm over there. It's a lovely thing.
Thank you.
And see their work in Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. And if you'd like to hear more podcasts like this, hit the subscribe button. For information on where you can see Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries, go to shipofdreamsfilm.com. Titanic Talk is a production of Ship of Dreams Film Limited.